Hello and welcome to the official EstablishTheRun.com podcast. My name is Adam Levitan, and today we have an actual, legit, very, very special guest. You know him as fantasy's best running back in 2022 and 2021. I know him as a great friend of the fantasy community, and frankly, the guy I want to train me in the weight room. It is Austin Ekeler, running back of the Washington Commanders. Austin, really appreciate the time. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for the intro. I appreciate that. But no, glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Good. All right. We only have 30 minutes here. No time to mess around. I have to start with the question that is like burning me the most around the NFL. What happened in the NFL last year in terms of run pass stuff? Like, I'm sure you noticed this, Austin. For the first time since 2008, NFL teams averaged fewer than 33 pass attempts per game. In terms of pass rate over expectation, just 9 teams were on the plus side. Your Commanders were actually one of them, but only 9 teams were on the plus side of pass rate over expectation. 23 ran the ball more than baseline expectation. We also had 23 different running backs get 200 plus carries and 6 get 300 plus carries. Now, this was not the norm for the last decade. It was a very pass happy league for the last decade. Do you think last season was an outlier, or is this like a new philosophy in the NFL that you think teams are going to stick with in terms of being more run centric?
Great question. I think there's a lot that goes into this question because you got to look at. I think the quarterback situation plays a big role into this. And what I mean by that is kind of trending away from maybe the pocket passers as much, or maybe not. I shouldn't say it that way. Guys that can throw in the pocket absolutely can be a pocket passer, but guys that have mobile skills as well and can run, I think also contributes to those running numbers going up. Because hey, it's a pass play. However, Jaden Daniels takes off for 30 yards rushing down the field. Now it's a run play. And so I'm thinking maybe seeing a little bit more agile mobile quarterbacks has probably played into that as well. But I don't want to steer away from the running backs as well. I mean, we saw a lot of our guys in the running back position doing what we expected them to do, continuing to be that workhorse, go out there and make plays, things like that. So it's probably multiple reasons of why we had that. But I'm thinking the mobile quarterback is probably the biggest trend in my opinion.
All right. Well, let me give you a take then that I've heard that intuitively at least makes sense to me. Like, teams were throwing like crazy and they were showing more efficiency and value throwing versus running. Defenses then counter by putting smaller defenders on the field, right? They play more cover 2, they play more deep coverages, and now offenses kind of circle back and they counter with an emphasis on the run game. I've heard this take a bunch of times. I have no idea if it's true because I'm not really an X and O's football guy. Do you think there's any semblance of truth in that?
100%. And that's something that's been going on for a long time, though. Usually, if you have like a stud at receiver, all right, if it's Tyreek Hill, if it's a Terry McLaurin, like someone who can take the top off, like you're going to account for those types of people and you're going to play coverages so that they can't beat you deep. If you're getting chunk plays on you in the game, you're probably losing that game. So, hey, we'll let them check it down. We'll let them run. And then we'll come up and tackle them. It's kind of the philosophy, the bend, don't break kind of mindset that we've seen for a long time, though. Yeah. Just depends on really the firepower that, a team has on offense. So I definitely think that plays into it. Absolutely. And the numbers don't lie, and coaches are looking at numbers and they have analytics staffs and stuff like that. And so, yeah, if you can make a team go 15, 20 plays down the field, more than likely they're going to screw up one of those, drop a pass, come up short on third down, and you're probably going to get off the field. Or worst case, you hold them to a field goal. So that's probably just good, smart defense over the long term. So, yeah, I could definitely see that argument playing into the factor as well.
All right. The fantasy stuff. So I'm curious how fantasy football is thought of in NFL locker rooms by the players. I'm biased. I think that a massive reason the NFL is worth $100 billion or whatever it's worth is because millions of people like us are obsessed with fantasy. I also see the other side of it where clowns are DMing hateful things or yelling at players because they didn't perform. So how is fantasy football thought of in NFL locker rooms?
Yeah. So you kind of touched on a few of the points, but one of the points that you made that we obviously kind of can't get away from is the popularity. It's extremely popular, and not just in the U.S. but global as well. And so for us, fantasy football hasn't really meant much to us because we can't necessarily interact with it and we can't do anything with it. And so that's actually why I started, Charity Draft, my fundraisers that I do with fantasy football, so that we as players can actually tap into that market and at least put some funds into charity of our choice. And so our kind of perception as players is really, yeah, we know it happens, but it's just a thing that happens, outside of football, because regardless, we can't really do much with it. So again, it's not much that kind of goes on as far as, like, especially if you're not someone that can, contribute to it, like defensive players, offensive linemen, like skill players offensively, obviously we can affect it, but even then we can't really get anything from it until, charity draft has come around. And now I'm trying to help guys really take advantage and at least get some money for charity.
If you have a bad game and someone loses their fantasy game because of it, and they DM you or send you a message very hateful, I think they should go to jail. Do you agree with me, Austin? Send them to jail. It's ridiculous, these people.
Well, go to jail might be a little excessive. Maybe get blocked or something like that might be a more appropriate, kind of remedy of that. Because here's the thing, people are emotional, right? People are emotional, and if you respond off emotions, typically it's going to be exaggerated, to both sides. If you're excited, you're the best, I love you. Like, okay, you probably don't love that person, but you're excited. Also goes the other way. You're the worst, I hate you. You probably don't hate them, but you're just emotional. So look, it's part of sports. And here's the thing, it actually helps sports because we want people to be emotionally invested because they keep coming back. And as humans, things that give us emotion make us feel alive. Like they give us some like substance, whether it's the drama or whether it's the hype or the sad times. So look, it's part of the game, and we'll take it. It's a love-hate relationship, with the emotional DMs.
All right. You mentioned your charity fantasy football league that supports your foundation. I looked at it a little bit. It sounds like you give away some unique prizes. Why don't you tell the people exactly what it is, how it works, what they can win, how we can sign up, etc.?
Yeah, so I mentioned it a little bit. It's called Charity Draft. You can go to charitydraft.com. It's a fundraiser that I've done for my foundation for the past few years, and we're actually expanding it this year. So we have 20 guys that are now participating in it this year. Some former players too, like Ray Lewis, Brian Dawkins. Then we have like Geno Smith, some of my teammates, Marcus Mariota, our center Tyler Biotage, Trent McDuffie, some defensive players over there, Justin Reed. So a lot of guys, go check it out. And how it works is basically charity draft. We approach everyone that has really a charity or foundation they're passionate about. And we say, hey, we would love to get prizes from you that we can put up for people to win in a fantasy league. And basically you pay and register. That money goes to that charity. Think of like My Cause, My Cleats, but a fantasy football version of it. So you would join the Austin Ekeler, one of my tiers. If you make the playoffs in one of those tiers, you get tickets to the Commanders Eagles game. You get, if you win it, you get like signed game jerseys. There's different ticket events that people are giving out. Brian Dawkins has a celebrity golf tournament that he does. He's giving away 2 tickets to that. So there's some prizes in there that you actually can't buy. A lot of signed memorabilia, some game worn stuff. So definitely check it out. charitydraft.com. Go see the roster. You can go click on and see all the prizes and register, and just know all that money's going to charity. You'll be able to see what cause is being supported there. So it's been an awesome initiative. I'm looking forward to expanding it.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Are you guys allowed to play in this? I don't even know what the rules are. Can you guys?
We are not allowed to play as players.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we play in fantasy football as an actual player, current player, we can't have anything that's worth more than $250 as a prize pool. So there's definitely prizes worth more than $250 going in here, up towards in the thousands. So yeah, we could definitely not play, but we can participate and at least, dedicate the money to go somewhere else. So indirectly, we're definitely getting some, benefit from being able to help out our communities that we care about.
Okay, great. I'm going to sign up for sure. Okay. I need to ask about this whole quote unquote running backs don't matter stuff. Obviously, I think everyone would say
who said that?
A lot of people and people in fantasy.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, I haven't heard it. Let's hear it.
Okay. So the take is too extreme, but I think the NFL has somewhat agreed that due to perceived replaceability, length of prime, injury rates. Like the average annual salary for running back lags far behind almost every other position. So how did we get here? Have you felt slighted through your career? And how has kind of the running back stuff been perceived in locker rooms over the last, I don't know, 5 to 8 years when kind of this quote unquote running back doesn't matter stuff has kind of proliferated?
Well, first of all, if anyone said running backs don't matter, I think that's way too far. That's way too far. That's over exaggerating the 100%. Because I think even just the fun in the game, I think just looking back in the history of football, like the running back position has been one of those positions that like you look forward to watching. It's exciting, score a lot of touchdowns, things like that. Just like the receiver is in their own way, like their own position. So anyway, just that's ridiculous. But what I think has happened over the past few years, you brought up the salary thing, and actually, there's a couple ways to look at this. Actually, I think Brandon Staley, my old head coach, said one thing with the receivers and potentially why that market just continues to go up. He said he kind of circled a football field and said, if you can get the ball, it was like 30, 20 yards down the field. If you can get the ball down here, that's where the money's at. Like, this is where the money's at. If you can consistently get the ball down the field. So who's running down there? Receivers, and then you got to have someone who can throw it down there, quarterbacks, things like that. So, because guess what? That's the exciting stuff. The big plays, chunk plays help you win games. Absolutely. But again, running backs, we still have some guys that can pop off that have been consistent. And so I thought that made sense. But what I think has been over exaggerated is kind of the impact of the game that the running backs do have. And so what I mean by that is, not every single running back is a star player. Yes, 100% get that, but not every single receiver is a star player. But where I think the difference has happened is basically, in my opinion, the running back position, those star players, the guys that are at the top of the game, have been treated more to the narrative of, injuries, not a long shelf life, of kind of the generic phrase of what running backs are. And I think that's prohibited new money from coming into the market. And so what I would like to have seen is just, it doesn't mean we need to, be making $30 million and making, receiver money. Maybe they are more impactful for the game, but I would like to have seen new money coming into the running back room because the cap continues to go up. However, the guys that are at the top of the level are still continue to impact the game at a positive rate, as we've seen, especially last year. So that's what I want to see. And do they not matter? I mean, 100% they matter, especially if you can run the ball down in the end zone, red zone. Then you're going to have the best way to score is running the ball in. It's the least risky, and it's just the most effective way to continue to also control the time of possession. So that was a long-winded answer, but hopefully got some out of that.
No, and like a guy like James Cook, I think James Cook has outperformed his rookie contract. He's played really well. He wants $20 million or something like that. The Bills are basically said, I don't think we can do that, and at that position. And I get that because they think that they have Ray Davis or Ty Johnson and it's replaceable. But guys that actually make a difference, like yourself and Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey and all these guys and Josh Jacobs that are making good money now, I think it's going to balance out, I guess is my point.
The thing is here for us as running backs, all we can ever do is the same thing we've been doing, is try to make the most impact as we can. The narrative that we're tied to sucks because it's situational. Guys get hurt all over the place. It's not necessarily a good thing. Obviously it's actually bad, but especially as a running back position, we get the ball a lot more. But if you have a track record to continue to make an impact at a high level, I think you should be compensated for that. And then we bring in the kind of risk of injury a little bit later on. So that's why we don't have as much I think cap or like a upside in our contracts.
Sure. Yeah. And one solve that I actually thought of was, the rookie scale for running backs should be higher. If careers are going to be shorter and the NFL is just going to churn running backs out after their rookie deal, you can make the rookie scale higher for running backs. But again, I'm not in the NFLPA, so what do I know? Mentioned injuries.
Good luck. Go talk to ownership and let us know how that one goes.
Mentioned injuries. I'm curious if you worry at all about the future of football. I mean, my wife will absolutely under no circumstance let our kids play tackle football. She's too freaked out by all the injuries and the CTE stuff. And I got to be honest, you can call me soft. I'm pretty on the fence about it too. So how do you think about kind of the current rhetoric around CTE injuries? Would you let your kids play? tackle football, etc.?
Yeah, I would 100% let him play. My thing is, when it comes to CTE stuff, obviously anything with the brain, you want to make sure you take seriously. I think we have, I think it's like, I forgot, it was around like 15,000 or 20,000 retired. Maybe it's like 10, somewhere in there. It's in the tens of thousands of retired NFL players. And, for us, we have a big community of people that have been playing football for a long time. And I think the brain injury and the brain health and safety is a massive part of making sure that is, top of priority. And I think at this point, with kind of what the research that we have and the narratives that we have, and that how I understand it anyway, is that, for the most part, yeah, there's injury. There's potential you have injuries. Doing anything, but football, absolutely. But most of our membership is still healthy. Most of our membership is still doing well. So that definitely gives me confidence to continue and being an advocate of that too. I've been playing football for like over 20 years now. I've not missed a season. Every single fall for 20 plus years, I have played football. And still going. Yeah. So for me, no, get out there. If you're passionate about it, you want to do it, absolutely. We'll hope you stay safe, and we're going to do everything we can as far as gear and stuff to keep you safe. But I think life's too short to not go out there and do what you really are passionate about.
Yeah. Speaking of like equipment stuff, I'm curious what you think of the Guardian cap. And like, if it was me, I saw Devon Achane wear it last year. I guess if I thought that it could help, I would wear it, but I didn't see that many guys wearing it last year. Do you think that more guys are going to start wearing that, or I guess should they, or what are the guys telling you about the Guardian caps?
Yeah, I think it's a good step forward as far as trying to innovate to make, our headgear safer. It still has a ways to go. I don't like how much it weighs. I feel like the weight and the look of it, like the weight of it is just makes me a little bit top heavy. And even if it's a pound or half a pound, like when you're running full speed and trying to cut and juke and stop, that little half a pound makes a difference as opposed to when I'm not wearing it, like in a practice situation type of thing. So I'm just not a fan of it. They've actually come up with some new helmets that are kind of got the webbing inside that's a little bit better. So I think the Guardian cap is, a step in the right direction. I don't think that's the end kind of game. I think it'll be something that's incorporated into that helmet shell, like we're seeing now even this year. So something that, hey, if it did help, sure. But I know for me, it wasn't a position where it was going to make me help enough to, and then take away from my efficiency where I thought that was worth it.
Right. Yeah. I didn't even think about the efficiency part. That makes a lot of sense. I want to ask about information. Like, I ask for so little in life. All I really want is for a beat writer for each team to let us know what the depth charts are looking like in practice. Like, hey, today Austin Ekeler was with the ones in the 2-minute drill. Or, hey, today Luke McCaffrey got all the slot reps with the ones. Am I asking too much here? And do you want to join my new business that hires 32 people to go find out this information for me at every team's practice? And how much do you think the depth chart stuff in practice correlates to game stuff also?
As a player, I think it's a terrible idea. I don't want to hear about that stuff. I don't give a dang. Like, let me just focus on my off season, trying to get myself better. I don't want to have the drama of, hey, you're third string today. What happened? They're giving the rookie some reps. Why didn't you get those? Yeah. Well, I was tired today and my speed was up last year. Now I got to answer questions about the depth nine. And then coaches got to answer questions about the depth chart. Heck no. Get out of our practice. You can wait till the fall when everyone else can get the information, and just let us focus on the off season and trying to become the best version of ourselves, because the off season is not treated like season. Depth charts in the season matter. Depth chart in the off season does not matter, because even like for me, example, my rookie year, I was 6th string on the depth chart the entire OTAs, entire training camp. Like, I got 6th string reps. There's not even a 6th string. I got the scout team reps. And then all of a sudden, hey, Austin, you made the team. So what's the like likelihood that those depth charts are actually going to matter? It's going to be less relevant, obviously, than in the season. So I would say decent idea, but as a player, I hate it.
Okay, well, maybe in the regular season we can execute the idea then. Forget the off season. I even want to know, during the regular season, the walkthrough on Saturday, who was with the starters and stuff like that. I think that would make that. I'm just looking. I'm looking for information.
You should know by then, though, right?
We should.
By then, you should know what's going on.
We have good
You know?
guesses. We have good guesses, but sometimes something will happen, and I'll be like, "Man, that came out of nowhere. This guy was running with the ones in the game. I had no idea that was happening." But yeah, for the most part, we do know. You're right,
You need to talk to the sports books about that because that's probably something that they would love to have too, or that's who you
for
at least
sure,
sell it to. That
for sure.
information. Yeah.
Um, all right, last question for me before we get to the listener questions. I've always wanted to ask players how they feel about NFL contracts. Like if you're an NBA or an MLB player and you break your leg 1 year into a 4 year contract, you collect every single dollar. In the NFL, a lot of teams are just going to dump you and move on. Am I crazy, or should some form of guaranteed contracts be the number one priority for the NFLPA and the players going forward?
Oh, tough question. Tough topic. Because I see both sides. I really do. I see in the space of, yes, we play a violent sport that I think the average is like 3 years that people play. I think it's actually like 4 years if you take out, guys that get past their like their first or second year, things like that. So even then, let's say 4 year shelf life on average. And when you have a lot of guarantees in people's contracts, things can happen. Things can happen. And so I don't mind the hybrid type contracts that we have right now, where it's like, hey, the first 2 or 3 years of a 4 year deal are guaranteed, and that last year is kind of up for grabs. I like that because I think it shows just some stability in a contract for a player, but also, as time goes on, things change and give some flexibility for the club in the back end. So I think that's a good middle ground for now. I think fully guaranteed is what we would ask for as players. 100%. I want a fully
Sure.
guaranteed. Yeah, absolutely. But again, this is a negotiation. It's back and forth. So I'm sure the NFL would say, no, we just want to do no guarantees and we can cut you at any time and we can have all the flexibility we want. And so
Right.
we don't want that. So I like the middle ground we're at.
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. All right. The people had a lot of questions for you. I tried to pick out 5 here that I thought would be interesting. Kiko says, how has Austin changed his nutrition and conditioning during his career? What has helped his longevity the most? And Clint asked, when is the last time that Austin ate a carbohydrate? You are famous for your workout routines and physique. Can you give anything to the people out here like us that are just taking some creatine, mashing some weights, and hoping for the best? Any advice for the rest of us?
Hey, I love it. I love it. I think you said it was Nico or Tico?
Kiko. Yes, Kiko.
Kiko. Appreciate the question, my friend. So for me, my routine has not changed when it comes to my diet. My diet has stayed the same. And I feel like my routine has actually helped me with my longevity in my career, which really consists of really boring meals. I have a smoothie every single morning. This kind of plays into the carbs, but it's oats, 2 eggs, strawberries, and some milk. If I'm trying to bulk up a little bit, I'll go whole milk. If I'm good, I'll be 2% milk. That's my breakfast. Usually lunch is like I just had a sandwich or some type of rice and a protein. And then I kind of do whatever for dinner. So that's been my meals for pretty much ever. Carbs, you got to have the macros, man. Like you can't be skipping on macros. You got to get your carbs, you got to get your proteins, you got to get your fats. I burn a lot of calories working out 5 days a week. Skip on the weekends up until season, obviously, and then we actually push play, so it's kind of a workout. But that's kind of my routine, and then just haven't changed it. Just always in the weight room, though. I think the weight room has helped me with my longevity. Is just keeping my body compact, keeping my muscles, ligaments, tendons all ready to kind of form, move, be strong, sturdy, all of that. And I think that's definitely what's helped me sustain as much as I have. Knock on wood, my injury rate has been pretty low, except last year when I get freaking concussions. Come on, man, freaking getting hit in the head. But yeah, body as far as ligaments and muscles have been good.
Okay, interesting. Friend of the show, Joey Ingram says, ask Austin how he helped inspire / create the celebrity poker tour with Blake Wynn because of their poker game. Listen, man, you're really #one of us. I didn't know you were into poker. You're into fantasy. You're into poker. I had no idea. Talk to me about the poker streets for you.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting in the poker room right now. Here's the poker table and
baby,
the chairs. It's all ready to go. So yeah, Blake Wynn has become a close friend of mine out in Las Vegas, and we've just gotten close. So we have a ton of home games. I have a home game. He would have a home game. We invite people over. I like to play like wacky games too. I don't like playing just straight Texas Hold'em the whole time. I'm making up games. I'm putting wilds in there, stuff like that. Double flop, triple flop type stuff. For you diehards out there, you know what that is. Crazy games. And so with Blake, he started this concept of wanting to do celebrity poker, just make poker interesting with some, unique personalities. And I was I think I joined the first one that he ever did, and helped him just connecting him with people to continue to join. And we're actually thinking about running a charity draft tournament for him, a celebrity chat. And so if you win, you would actually get invited to one of the celebrity poker nights, which I think would be sick because it's like legit actors, singers, athletes, TikTokers, YouTubers, all types of celebrities that come to these things. But shout out to Blake Wynn for doing a good job with his product over there with the Celebrity Tour.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to play. Question 3 from David. He says, how much more difficult is it for a late round draft pick to get a chance at the and hang on to a starting running back job compared to an early round pick? Now, I would just say the data shows there is a very big correlation between draft capital and opportunity. But at running back, it does seem a little bit easier. Kyron Williams was a round 5 pick. Chuba Hubbard was a round 4 pick. Aaron Jones, round 5. Bucky Irving, round 4. Austin Ekeler was undrafted, of course. But yeah, how does it work in a training camp for a rookie who comes in undrafted or round 4, round 5, round 6 versus the capital spent if a team takes a running back round 1, 2, 3?
I think rookie year, it's still extremely hard. Rookie year anyway. I think you can definitely build yourself into that. But here's the thing. As a rookie, like look at my room right now. As a rookie, you're coming in and competing against myself, B-Rob, and really B-Rob's play, and Jeremy McNichols. I've been playing for 9 years. B-Rob's going into his 4th year. So you're playing against guys that have got a lot of a burn and understand the game at a high level now and have trust in our coaches that, hey, we're going to go out there and get the job done at a high level. And so as a rookie, you have to earn that trust in those coaches for them to put you out there. And we're kind of like the last line of defense for the quarterback too. So one of the biggest things I see is protections. Are you able to get protections down? And then as far as like running, look, you're a running back, you're going to have some type of run style. That's great. But are you able to comprehend the playbook, protect the quarterback? I remember my head coach, Coach Lynn, who's my running back coach right now. I told him actually my rookie year, I was like, I'm going to make this team. Like, what do I got to work on this offseason? And he's like, protect the quarterback was number 1. Hang on to the ball, right? Don't fumble, and then go talk to your special teams coach. And so that was another thing too. You got to be able to you have to be able to contribute to the team. And so if you're going to be in that later round, you're probably going to be in a second, third string position. So you're going to have to contribute to special teams. And if you can't do that, and you're only playing running back, we have 2 people in front of you, it's going to be hard for you to get on the field. So it's just a progression of learning the playbook, building trust with the coaches that can get you into that position. And then obviously you have to build from there to get your chance to start.
All right. Last question here. Dennis says, how much stock should fantasy footballers put into the shower narrative? Is there a new one to look out for this season, e.g. Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson? What he's referring to is the narrative that players who played together in college have more chemistry together in the NFL. Do you think this is true at all? We have some examples here. We have Jalen Waddle and Tua. We have Hurts and Devonta Smith. We have Burrow and Chase. Do you think that matters at all?
I think it's good for chemistry, yes, but will it directly benefit their play? I think that's debatable. I would say there is some type of correlation to chemistry and kind of team culture that relates to a better product on the field. So I guess indirectly because of that, I think it does help. But again, you still have to be a stud. You still have to be able to actually go out there and make those plays. It's not going to bring you above your skill level and anything like that. I think it just helps you sustain a higher portion of your skill level.
All right. Well, this was awesome. We'd like to formally offer you a job here at ETR. Actually, we've heard your analysis. We've heard your analysis with Matt Harmon, and we've been impressed. We can offer you dozens of dollars, Austin, to join the team here at ETR. But no, really appreciate the time, and tell the people one more time where they can find the information on your charity fantasy football stuff.
Heck yeah. Well, I appreciate the time, and thank you for everyone that was listening. If you want to get involved in some awesome charity fantasy leagues, check us out at charitydraft.com. Ton of different guys in there offering cool different prizes for great causes. So like I said, come have some fun and help us make a difference and get yourself a championship ring, or might even see you at a game.
All right, I'll be in there for sure. For Austin, for producer Ryan, for producer Luke, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.